Welcome back to the coverage of YCS Prague, where we're now starting our round 4 feature match. We again go back to SPYRAL. Not that surprising, considering it's the most played deck this weekend, other than the other decks. You saw that in the last round. And this time the SPYRAL player is Aldo Castello from Italy. We did look at the country breakdown. There were a little bit more than 100 players from Italy, and we expect them to do well.
Yeah,
Italian
absolutely.
players are not known to drop down in large numbers. On the first day, they always have a couple of guys in the top 64. So,
very strong playing community over in Italy.
yeah. So just like from that perspective, I would say I would give the edge to Aldo. However, his opponent is Leonhard Hecher from Germany, and he is the reason why we picked this particular match. He's playing a creative build.
Yep, he's playing the Magic Musketeer deck.
Magical Musketeer.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about this deck, Luke?
It's super interesting. Me and Matt played
the mirror
bunch
match
of
is
the mirror matches.
hilarious and really fun to play.
So they're all based on the monsters activate their effects whenever something in their column is activated.
Right.
So
That used to be really bad.
yeah,
Before.
yeah, before it started making kind of an importance.
Yeah.
especially with this
you were
deck.
forced to place cards here and here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, but that's
Thank you, Link
and that's
Monsters.
that's what it's about.
Okay.
There's way too many cards to go through every single one of them, but they all have different effects when something activates
In
their
the same column.
Yeah.
All right. So how well does SPYRAL fare against this particular deck?
Well, one of the problems I have with the Magical Musketeers deck is that all of their great cards have the word target printed on them, and Spiral Resort shuts that down. So it's difficult for me to see how the Magical Musketeers is in a good place against the Spiral matchup,
Okay.
but he's currently 3-0, right?
Yeah, I think I was just going to check before when we started, but I think it's still 3-0.
Both of these players undefeated.
Yeah.
Well, which is interesting because all of our feature matches so far, we have had a rogue deck, and all of them had been undefeated at the time when we featured them.
Yeah.
So it seems like a good weekend to bring something unique to the table.
Yeah, we always try and feature something interesting, at least on one of the sides.
Yeah,
during
before
the
we
first
end
day.
up with the Joshuas and
Yeah,
the
you're gonna see-
Marcellos and
You're
You're going to
all
see those guys
in
tomorrow anyway.
Exactly.
top side and day 2.
All right, let's bring some new faces in. Let's move over to the feature match table for our round 4 feature match. All right, you can see they've just been receiving the signal, or they are about to receive the signal. Leonhard on the left and Aldo on the right. We are good to go, and I think the judges are busy typing down the no, they are not busy yet. We have another, interestingly enough, we have another screen here where we can see top-down perspective with also the players.
Yeah. I think the designated match beginning person wasn't actually here to begin the match.
Yeah, so we can see that Leonhard is busy checking his phone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's probably checking the coverage and
There we go.
just learns.
While those hands are loading in, Luke, do you have these players' match histories that we can review and see if we can find out who's favored based on previous performance?
Yeah, we're going to try and bring that up. I got them both here. So we got Leonhard. Let me search for him. Here we go. So he actually lost last round. He did win his first round against Philipp Brandstetter from Austria, who was playing ABC. He did win the second round as well when he was playing against Daniel Scheppler from Germany, who was playing Invoked. And just last round, he played against SPYRAL and he lost. So not the best.
So he's 2-1 at the moment.
Yeah,
And
still fair enough.
Aldo's last name?
Castello. Yeah, Castello, just like the castle in Italian. He did win the first round in a SPYRAL mirror match against Ruven Reiners. He did lose the second round against Elias Kasper from Austria, who also went SPYRAL. Oh, very interesting day for him today. And in round 3, he went up against Periklis Tanos from Greece, who was playing an unknown deck at the time of this reporting.
I think that Aldo Castello has never played. Well, he didn't play during last WCQ season because I can't find him. So
Okay.
interesting. What about Leonhard?
yeah, so he attended the Swiss National Championships and a regional in, I can't pronounce that. It's just there's so many valves.
Pforzheim.
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 Obviously.
What's the big deal?
Pforzheim. There's just so many vowels. There's there's so many consonants and no vowels. And his win ratio was 61% over those 2 tournaments.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, so, well, you don't have any information for Aldo, so that immediately makes it 0, right? That's how that works.
Yeah, before last year, there was no Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Right, is that how that works?
Yeah.
But it is kind of unique that we have a little bit more than 100 players from Italy, and then we have somebody who hasn't been playing in last season.
Yeah.
Because normally you always see the same faces from Italy. At least like the core group, which is like 70 players or something.
Yeah.
That seems to be the same guys all the time.
Yeah.
All right. So
He plays Kid Brave.
I blinked. Who went first?
Leonhard.
Aldo, I think.
Aldo.
Aldo went first. I think he tried to guess with a super agent, revealed the trap card on the top of Leonhard's deck, then decided to just set his super agent and pass because he had no way of getting 2 monsters onto the field.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, he's just drew his, is it Psyframe Driver?
That's never good to draw, otherwise you don't get to use the other Cypherings. Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah, so not much happening for Leonhard.
Yeah, Storm Strike.
That works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Aldo's got time on his side. The Magical Musketeers deck is not one for pushing out OTKs.
Yeah.
So he's got a little bit of time to draw out of this this bad spot, and we have seen that Leonhard hasn't started with the Ties of the Brethren, which would have allowed him to just push his advantage here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also something like a side note, basically. Aldo seems to be shaking a tiny bit. He seems to be a bit nervous. Not that surprising when he hasn't been at the big tournaments that many times before. And he's now playing in the feature match, of course.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. Big jump.
We're seeing attack cross domination coming down. I'm just going to reduce. That's a card that you guys probably haven't seen unless you were watching San Diego. That reduces the attack of a monster to 0, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
Does it negate?
It's also it has its effect negate, which very often is even more important.
Super strong, that card.
Yeah.
Super duper
Yeah,
strong.
Can only activate 1 per turn, but I think that's fair.
It's the same for all of the magical musket cards.
Yeah, also, depending on where Leonhard did this, he might be triggering his monster to throw out a card and draw 2 new ones.
Yeah, so that will likely happen.
So now we see the Spiral deck for the first time with incomplete information or not hitting out of the blue. And we can see it's making a big difference. It's been slowing down a lot, obviously, because of that.
Yeah, and I mean, drawing that driver really didn't help.
So
Castello in an awkward position where he tried to... he just missed his agent on the very first turn.
Yeah.
And
that makes all the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
his turn then essentially gets blanked.
So what's the composition of the Magical Musketeer? Is he playing a lot more monsters than spells like all the other decks, or?
Well, it's kind of very similar at the moment, the way that it's played, but they are playing quite a lot more trap cards than any of the other decks.
Right.
The Magical Musket trap cards are really strong, so
they're great when you don't
generally
have to
more.
set them.
Yes. Yeah, you can play the Magical Musket trap cards if you've got a Magical Musketeer on the field.
Yeah. If that had happened many, many years ago, it would have been, fool, you activated my trap card from my hand.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have fit into the series because it's too long a sentence. Fortunately, back then you had to set everything.
Yeah.
All right. So Aldo trying to gain an advantage slowly but steadily. So to me, what's a bit surprising, I mean, you did say that the Magical Musketeers are not known to be super explosive.
Yeah.
But they did have some time. I mean, not much was happening the first 2 turns for them. And it doesn't look like they got a great setup now.
Well, Leonhard is actually now starting to root in. The problem is he's betting on this Kid Brave to get another spell or trap card.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a risky gambit for him to continue disrupting his opponent. Because if he now draws 2 monsters...
Oh dear.
Did he get Ash Blossom? Yeah, he got Ash Blossom.
Yeah,
so
he
he
got
didn't
Ash
get the
Blossom.
cards.
Yeah, Kid Brave got ashed.
So now it seems like Aldo is in a good position all of a sudden.
Yeah.
With Leonhard only 1 more card in hand, which is an Ash Blossom of his own, down to 1 monster on the field. I'm kind of wondering, where did all of those effects go? I mean, he did resolve some of the magical muskets.
He hasn't got to Casper, who's the key one. We let you start searching stuff from your deck. Essentially, what you want to do is use Casper to get them out of your deck. Kid Brave to throw out the additional monsters in your hand that you no longer need. And then the last one, Doc, then starts getting the spell and traps back from the graveyard.
Which is the one that is currently on the field.
Which is one in his hand.
No, it's on the hand, yeah, sorry.
The one in play, sorry, in development, they had different names. In fact, I didn't have complete names, so I had to create names for them. So I keep remembering them by completely different...
Okay.
Yeah.
That must be confusing.
It does get confusing. World Chalice Dragon Umduk was called Stan.
Yeah, Stan. I remember all of them.
The 2-material Alderum was Randy.
Randy, yeah. Randy was the best.
So what was that? You gave them wrestler names or something?
No,
there was,
I think I watched South Park the
Eve.
night before or something, and went, I just need names.
There was,
there
was Eve as well.
Yep.
Eve and Titan as well.
Yes, because when I was writing that, I had the Final Fantasy soundtrack playing, so I was just like, yeah, that works. That's just because I needed names, it just like blank spaces, and it was driving me mad.
Yeah. This is whatever happens when the new cards come in. Matt has to make up names for them all.
Oh, no, usually they're pretty good. Sometimes it's just like we've got placeholders and stuff because it's not been finalized.
I've seen those. When insert this card here uses its effect.
Yeah.
That's always the best part.
You can only activate this card name.
Yeah. All right, so it does look like SPYRAL has gained the upper hand in the first game. He does have Doc, you mentioned. That's not the key card of the Magical Musketeer deck. Is there anything that Leonhard can draw right now that would turn this around?
Absolutely. Any spell or Magical Musketeer spell or trap will allow him to then use the Doc to get back either the Crossfire or the Cross Domination,
or
Desperado. And then he can use that to remove another one of his opponent's cards.
Use that next turn.
And then use Doc to get the other one. So he can then keep flicking between the two while he builds some time.
It's like a gunslinger with 2 guns, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, Pot of Desires is a great one.
That could help.
Oh, especially after your opponent has already used an Ash Blossom.
Yeah, because the likelihood of him having another is pretty low.
You've also got to be very careful playing against the Magical Musketeer
not just
deck.
on-theme cards that activate their effects either. So he's going to get Doc's effect now.
Yeah, and your
Because
opponent
he played in the same column.
Your opponent can trigger them by accidentally playing their cards in the same column as well. So you've got to be really aware of what you're doing at all times.
Right.
Which is why the mirror match is just so crazy.
A mess.
Because like you'll make moves where you'll summon monsters in front of your opponent's monsters, knowing
it's like
that they're gonna have, if they want to get their effect, they have to trigger yours.
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh's version of 4-dimensional chess.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, so it does look like you can tell that Leonhard has picked up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the shuffling in his hand and the entire movement. So you can tell something is going on for him, and he's like happier than before at least.
Yeah, he's got a Desperado, and he's got another Cross Dominator as well.
Yeah, he's going to have to check out the Last Resort.
Yeah.
Thing is, it's like he doesn't want to throw in his Cross Domination here.
I'd just set it. I'd set it behind Doc.
You don't need.
Oh,
don't need to.
Yeah, sorry.
He's a Magical Musketeer player.
Yeah, he's a Magical Musketeer. He doesn't need to set his spells and traps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
what's super surprising about it.
That's the magical part about it.
Yeah.
So
I just want to see an opponent play a spell card in the same column. To be honest, like I just want to see it that somebody's not prepared for this.
It gets pretty intense when you've got like 4 monsters on the field.
Yeah.
Me and Matt were playing a version. We were playing Ties of the Brethren.
yeah, and then you all of a sudden
summon
you go,
3 monsters.
So is this the ultimate troll deck? Like,
no,
is this the ultimate I'm making my opponent's life miserable deck?
It's like
Pretty good at that.
it's like a game. It's like Tron, where you're trying to like just cross the line in front of them, and you're constantly trying to outmaneuver your opponent based on the zones. Like if you guys just if you want to have a lot of fun and play a completely crazy game, I do strongly recommend the Musketeer Mirror Match.
It is really fun.
And you start finding like the key cards, the continuous trap, which stops your guys being destroyed.
Yeah.
Which changes the entire flow of the match and stuff. It's super fun.
All right, so here's a big swing actually.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't play Cross Dominator there.
He absolutely should have. Unless he used it on the SPYRAL Helix to stop himself getting comboed.
Yeah, no, that's probably it. He probably played it on the Helix. But he should have been able to fetch back a card then.
So
yeah, he already used Dominator this turn, and then he used Cross Domination
used Desperado last turn, like in his turn. Now
Yeah.
it's his Aldo's turn. He should have been able to get it again.
Yeah, I don't think he did anything.
I don't know why he didn't play that.
So
Well, then he's out.
I think Leonhard misplayed there.
yeah, he's down on just one card here, and 500 life.
Yeah,
Oh, he's
Ties of
playing
the
Ties of the
Brethren
Brethren.
costs 2,000 life points, so absolute complete blank. And his opponent knows it because he just saw it off of the Spiral Tough. I don't know why Leonhard is burning the clock to see this. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you're trying to figure out, you're trying to see what information you get, but from Spiral decks at this point, there's not really... And he's just seen the next card is also nothing.
So how easy is it to get your hands on the key card in the Magical Musketeer deck?
You're looking at the it's level 3 Light Fiend monster, so you haven't really got tons of easy searches, but Ties of the Brethren means that you can get any of the level 3 monsters and then just go off from there.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, Spiral burns through the resources, and that is game 1 for Aldo Castello from Italy with his Spiral deck against Leonhard Hecher. And now the big question is, what are they going to side into? Both of these guys. I mean, the Spiral deck seems to be well positioned. Is there anything else how Aldo can make his opponent's life even more miserable?
There's actually nothing in here that does, apart from Regeki. Regeki is actually very strong because if you clear up the Magical Musketeers monsters, they can't actually play into the cards from their hand, so all of a sudden they're wide open. But things like Evenly Matched are way less effective in this matchup because all of the cards you're holding in your hand. Artifact Scythe, Artifact Lancia, neither of these are actually doing anything, so the Artifact Sanctum engine, not so good. Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries, you're playing Magical Musketeers, you're not summoning from the extra deck because giving up your monsters is just essentially throwing away cards from your deck. So Aldo doesn't have a lot for this match. I guess he's just relying on the fact that his deck is better.
Right.
Yeah. Leonhard's got a bunch of stuff. He's got Darkhold, Regeki. He's playing Macrocosmos, which is really random. But he's got Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries as well.
Right.
Well, that's huge.
Which is really big. Yeah.
And he does play evenly matched.
Yeah.
The Gammas. The
Is that
Gammas
evenly
are...
matched?
No, and there's Stroll and Knockbird. This is
Evenly matched. Okay.
evenly matched, yeah.
See these new cards.
I think that's the third different name I've seen for evenly matched.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's because people. So sometimes when the cards in Japan have been released, people translate them on their own, and then rather than even duel, like the German version, basically, they may even match or something, and then that's how they get used to different names for the same cards.
I'm just looking.
I think the temporary name was Competitive Game.
There was a time when we did translate Firewall Dragon.
SPYRAL Doppelhelix.
Like literally.
Oh, right, okay.
As in Feuerwalldrache. And then Markus was actually asking me, hey, are you translating this and this and this set? And I'm like, yeah, we might be working on this. And he's like, how did you translate Firewall Dragon? And I'm like, Feuerwalldrache. Like, why not? And then he's like, you do know that's like a firewall, like the computer firewall. And we're like, oh. And
guess the eraser.
It's because you're sitting on an Excel sheet. You're only looking at numbers and names and everything. Like oh, this is a 4-star monster with 1,200. Like this is what you're looking at, and then you see the artwork and everything starts to make sense. Yeah.
So yeah, Leonhard does have his SPYRAL Doppelhelix in his
so you can
extra deck.
get him with the Winter Cherries.
Winter Cherries.
Right. Okay. So who do you think is the favorite going into the second game? Is it just gonna prove that Aldo's Spiral deck is too strong, or
I think Leonhard, he has to know that he's going to play nothing but Spiral.
Yeah, exactly.
He's beat 2 of them.
Yeah.
On his way through so far.
No, he did lose the last round to Spiral.
He's played 3, hasn't he? And then he's beaten 2 of them.
I think Aldo played 2. I'm just gonna double check. So again, show all. We're gonna get there. So Leonhard was the one who went against ABC, then Invoked, then Spiral, and he did lose to Spiral.
Okay,
so he had the Rogue decks and he beat them, and then he went against Spiral and he did not.
And
Interesting.
right here is the biggest problem that you get with the Magical Musketeer deck. You have to draw an equal balance of spells and traps, monsters, because your spells and traps you can't actually activate if you don't have a monster.
Yeah. And Aldo went up against Spiral, and then Unknown, which might be another Spiral, but I don't think so.
He's got to have drawn a monster here off of this Pot of Desires, which he hasn't. Unless that's... Oh, it's a duality. Ooh, that could be good. I don't know why he's waiting here. There's
It's
no
because
choice.
there's a drawn lockbird in effect.
Oh, didn't see the draw lockbird being discarded.
Yeah, I think Leonhard is potentially facing just getting wiped out on the first turn. He's got 0 interaction whatsoever. And there's a double summon. Yeah, that's
game.
Yeah. From that combo, I'm pretty sure Aldo can make the Trigate.
I mean,
triple
he
link.
can, but is he going to always go for that big combo, or is he going to be hesitant because he's like, okay.
If Aldo's practiced the matchup, he'll know that Leonhard can only have hand traps to stop him. And he's going to keep playing until his opponent shows a hand trap, and then he'll figure out the rest later.
So he's not afraid of something like... I mean, I know that nobody's playing Mirror Force anymore, but... like something like that.
I think Torrential Tribute would be maybe the worst thing that could happen to you, but it seems unlikely when it's so important to keep the Magical Musketeer cards on the field.
Yeah.
Especially when you can... One of your biggest strengths is that you don't have to reveal to your opponent how many reactive cards you actually have. It seems a bit weird to then put those in the deck, especially when they take up a zone as well.
Yeah.
That you can then... It affects where you maneuver your monsters. So if I was Aldo, I'd be feeling extremely safe about this.
All right. So we did see one cross domination to foil one effect.
It can't be
that's
used.
got hit by Super Agent. You can't use your magical musket cards unless you have a magical musketeer.
All right. Yeah. So even worse.
Yeah.
Even worse.
All of his cards are blank at the moment.
Yeah, he's just hoping his opponent doesn't OTK him. And
like
even if he draws a monster from the setup that Aldo's going to have, if Aldo didn't win...
That pot... I mean, we did see the top 3 cards. I don't think there was a monster among the top 3 cards. So...
that's even worse.
Yeah, so I think there was nothing that Leonhard could have done, even if the pot had resolved, for him to stop this, to be honest. It's one of the worst opening hands he could have drawn into.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's with such a big mix of monsters, because you're playing your ratios pretty close, it's entirely possible to happen with this deck. And
he's playing 17 monsters.
Yeah, 17 monsters, 14 spells, 9 traps, which sounds like a nice distribution among the 3.
I remember there used to be a time when playing 15 monsters was questionable.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Now you get down to like 9 monsters in invoked decks. Well, 9 like real monsters. Everything else is hand traps.
Right, and Leonhard knows what's coming. It's just going to be another trap. Does he have a second Pot of Duality? Oh, he did activate a Pot of Desires.
Yeah.
And Pot of Duality he just kept.
Yeah, he drew it because of Drawn Lockbird. He wasn't able to play it that turn.
Yeah.
So he'd have a way of trying to do something next turn, but he's not getting a next turn if Aldo
plays it right.
Knows how to combo a Spiral deck, which if he's playing at the YCS, I'm sure he knows.
It's not just that. It's also that he's like playing with a group of players. I'm pretty certain that know how to like make him run through all the combos.
Like Stefano Mamori, 2-time world's competitor.
Yeah, and we did see that Federico Sopini is back here this weekend, and like I said, the Italian players are not known to mess up in that situation.
They've got a really big, very, very strong community that they all bounce ideas off of for these events.
Yeah.
I think Germany's similar, right? You've got like...
I would not agree to that.
No, really?
I would say that in Germany it's a lot more fractured, that you have like groups everywhere, but they don't play together as much. And to me, it seems like the Italian players, they're more willing to share their knowledge.
Yeah, the UK is even worse than Germany. They're completely fractured.
No, I think that's what's benefiting the Italian players so much, that they really are somewhat free with exchanging their information and then helping each other to get better. And in turn, that's helping the entire country to win more tournaments.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not like insider knowledge. We should have to ask somebody like Marcello. He could tell us.
Yeah.
But like the Germans are not known to freely share information, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, the more you know.
Yeah. All right. So this is looking really, really good for Aldo Castello, who would pick up his 3rd win in the 4th round.
Yep. It's going to be very hard for him not to.
Yeah. The writing on the wall is currently being painted by that Italian maestro. He's working on that very heavily. maybe you can give us a bit of a preview with your crystal ball match. What is he going to do here?
Well, here's the thing. It's difficult because he's got freedom to do anything he wants. So he could be going for the... Could he go for the Tri-Gate combo with the cards he has? I believe so.
Yeah, he's got another one to get another quick fix.
He doesn't need to, though, and it takes more steps. So he might just push in for a ton.
He definitely has enough damage, surely.
Yeah, he's going to end up with that. And yeah, he's just getting sleeper and resorts, and then get a last resort as well at some point in that combo if he doesn't already have it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he already has it.
He's assembling all the pieces one by one. And if you're Leonhard, would you just scoop?
Yeah, I would have picked up my cards. There's absolutely nothing I can do. It's game 2, so the information isn't even relevant to me after this game. Well, I guess for the rest of the round, you're going to be like, oh, how was your feature match? Fast.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe he just wants to see.
He's just trying to stretch it a bit, you know.
I mean, getting the experience from SPYRAL, if you want more high-level experience, you sitting them and letting them play it out so you get familiar with the combo is fine. But there's nothing really to be gained from sitting there and watching. Well, hoping Aldo makes a mistake.
Right.
I guess there's always that option.
Yeah.
To some degree, yeah.
Like the clock isn't going to be a factor because Leonhard knows he loses unless Aldo makes a mistake. So maybe he just waits for a mistake.
Right. He kind of knows that his opponent was able to rearrange the top 3 cards of his deck, so it's somewhat likely that the next draw for him is also going to be a deadish card.
Whatever the worst card in those top 3, but he has pot duality, which would be great if he was going to get the extra turn.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe that's what he's hoping for, that he gets to see another turn so he can then resolve the pot and maybe come back. It's an option, but somewhat unlikely. Alright, so Aldo's checking the graveyards. At what point does he know that his opponent has nothing to stop him? We are already...
He used the double helix
right.
and then got master plan and there was no interaction. At that point, he's got free reign. Because if there was anything to stop, it's that that master plan adding resort and a monster and a mission which can be discarded by the quick fix. If you get to that point and resolve your double helix, you know your opponent's got nothing because that is the only thing your opponent
the really key play that makes or breaks the combo. Because then you can, as Matt said, you proceed to make the link summon with master plan and helix, and then it just all goes downhill from there because you gain so much advantage from that play.
All right. So it's going to be a bit of a lesson that we're going to see here, a lesson in playing SPYRAL correctly.
And yep, we're going to find even DD Crow.
Yeah. Liverlusk. Are you enjoying the Duel Links music, Ollie?
Yeah, I'm getting used to it. It was the first time it came on and I was like, why is nobody turning his music off? And then when you pointed out that we have that as a feature now, I was like, oh, okay.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
It's not a bug, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it took a little bit of getting used to, but yeah, I'm starting to enjoy it more. It's good for my back. I can dance a little bit.
Dance a little bit.
Shift left and right in my seat. Yeah. So it's not the most comfortable chairs we're having this weekend. I don't want to whine. Don't want to sound like a whiner, but yeah. So I'm so glad that we have people that are paying attention to every single word I'm saying.
Especially the word wine.
Yeah. So if I ever get to introduce Jan to my wife, they're going to have a conversation and they're going to get along just great. Just great. All right. So here we see the trifecta, in a way, with those link monsters.
It looks pretty scary. It looks like a spear.
It does, yeah. Sleeper in the middle. And, of course, Gear helping Yeah,
I think that could have gone further for Aldo if he set up on the other extra monster zone.
Yeah, he
But-
could have kept going.
Yeah, there was no need to. But yeah, he was just going to take it down.
All right. Well, we have given it away in a way. There's not that much to talk about, but we're still going to talk about that match in our post-game discussion. All right, guys, you saw just now we had Germany versus Italy, one of the classic matchups that we see at the YCS. Leonhard Hecher going up with the Magical Musketeers against Aldo Castello from Italy, who is bringing the strongest deck into the weekend with SPYRAL. And it was a very convincing 2-0 victory.
Yeah.
Leonhard did not really, he wasn't able to make a case for Magical Musketeer here.
Nope.
That is the verdict from us three. We're gonna try and bring Aldo in for a post-match interview so he can talk about it a little bit. But it seemed like the most exciting thing was we had two players that we haven't featured before, and you can tell they were a bit nervous in the feature match area. Yeah. So I guess it was a cool experience for them, even though we didn't get to see any crazy plays.
No, we didn't really see much.
Yeah, we didn't see the Ties of the Brethren combo go off, which would have been
that'd have been really cool.
The best way for the Magical Musketeers to get into the game. Just didn't get there. And then the second game, he drew all the support with none of the monsters.
Yeah, although it started so well. I mean, we did see Aldo going first with a super agent and not hitting.
Because his opponent drew like driver and everything. Like it was many bad draws.
Yeah. So it seemed like there was enough time for Leonhard.
Yeah, there was.
Well, Leonhard needed to what any other deck in this format would have done is just pressed tons of damage through and would have won and ended the game right there. But the Magical Musketeers can't do that.
Yeah,
and he just gave his opponent a little bit of time to fix his hand, and then it all went out the window.
Yeah. But you guys said it. It's a very fun deck to play.
Oh, mirror match. I highly recommend Magical Musketeer mirror matches.
It's actually really fun.
All right. We have seen some other rogue decks earlier. Some of them we sometimes call rogue decks, and then you guys are very quick to point out, no, this is a real competitor. We did see Infernoid earlier, who is a bit in between. It's hard to say where it stands exactly. Some say it is very competitive. It's really good, well positioned in the field.
Yeah.
And mostly the players that are playing it, of course.
Yeah.
And some other players are saying, no, I don't think this deck is...
It's on the kind of wider radar. There's like the decks that are really kind of core to the format. Then those decks that just sit a little bit outside that. Infernoid's one of those decks. And then there's the, like, you know, the people playing Dark Magician and things like that.
And of course...
even further out.
And of course, this is not like the final word, but if we look at the top tables, we can also see there, of course, there's a lot of SPYRAL. Yeah. It's just round 4, so everything can change. Oh, by the way, Daniel Neville, who is usually charging from Ireland, is sitting on table 4 at the moment.
And Themis.
Yeah, against Themis. Yeah, good luck to you, Daniel. And yeah, we do have some Trickster there, some Pendulum Magician. Those are some of the decks that we did expect. There is Invoked near the top of the table.
Tim Cox off to another great start. Table 11, runner-up for YCS London.
Yeah, and every once in a while we see True Draco, Infernoid, Pendulum Magician pop up, Paleozoic. That's also cool. I mean, of course, it was on the list that you put together. Did you discuss the deck yesterday in our metagame breakdown?
We actually didn't, because we didn't feel like it'd be a big enough part of the game to bring up.
So that might be something. That might be something we might see later on. That's Dominic Nivens, who has also been successful before. He's going up against Carmelo Butiglieri, who was...
that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
That'd be why.
He was a world competitor in Orlando.
Yeah.
That's Suarez Flights.
He was 4 in Berlin. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
And of course, there's a couple of other decks as well in there, and unknown decks.
Ooh, World Chalice.
World Chalice.
Yeah, I actually saw the guy. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm still doing really well. Please feature me." So
okay,
all right.
Maybe
so
next round.
There's a chance. Yeah. Okay, guys, you have the choice between World Chalice on the one hand, and what was the other crazy deck? A crazier deck that we had. Paleozoic. Oh, okay, not super crazy. But
I think World Chalice. I'm feeling World Chalice.
You're feeling World Chalice
as well.
Okay.
If he wins, then let's see what we do.
Let's see what happens. Okay. Any other big predictions? Any other things that you saw when you were like walking through the venue where you were super surprised and thought like, oh, okay, I didn't see this coming, to be honest?
I haven't actually had enough time to actually go through and see it yet, because we're running a little bit after the event when we set up, so we missed most of the matches. But nothing strikingly out of the ordinary that I'd expect to see.
Yeah, I didn't
here.
see much on Friday.
Okay.
But
I think
you know, but there's I think we saw in the other category, you know, there's like a lot of decks that are kind of that sit on the outer radar that we didn't get a chance to talk about.
The Lightsworn zombie deck. That's probably the other one that's a little bit bigger here that we didn't actually discuss.
Okay.
On our radar.
Although we don't have it on the top 20 tables so far.
I think I knew somebody who was. I think Ben was playing it.
If you just use search for probably a bit easier.
No, he's not in the top kind of.
Yeah, he's not close to the top.
Yeah.
Somebody's playing it. Okay, that's not a question, but is he also doing well with it?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, guys, as always, you can let us know what you think, what you would like to see. The very strong chance you two guys are both saying World Chalice. It is.
I think World Chalice is a pretty good start.
Yeah.
All right.
With
that,
regionals.
we are heading off. We just got word that our player for this round, Aldo, his English is maybe not quite up to par. He's not feeling so well for doing an interview, so we don't have a post-match interview this round, but we're going to be back, of course, with round number 5 after a short break.